solutions to 5 times 3 minus x is less than negative 2x plus 6. So we're going to draw our line down the inequality. Since it has parentheses, we need to multiply everything inside by 5. So that's going to be 15 minus 5x is less than negative 2x plus 6. Next, we're going to put our x's on the same side. So I'm going to go ahead and move the 2x to the other side by doing the opposite of negative 2x. So plus 2x here, add 2x here. So that's 15 minus 3x is less than 6. Next, you'll notice that you have a positive 15, so we're going to take away 15 from here. So negative 3x is less than negative 9. Last, we have to divide by negative 3. Remember, anytime you divide or you multiply both sides by a negative, you have to flip the inequality. So x is going to be greater than 3. So the answer for problem 1 is B. Problem 2. A linear inequality in one variable is shown below. Solve the inequality. So line down the inequality. Half is what's on the outside. So I need half of 2, which is 1, so 1x. Half of negative 8, that's a negative 4, is less than or equal to, on the other side we have a 3, so 3x minus 15 plus 7. Now, if you look at the right-hand side, you'll see that you have numbers that can be combined together. So I could actually put together negative 15 plus 7. So this is x minus 4 is less than or equal to 3x minus 8. Next, we're going to put our x's on the left-hand side. So take away 3x, take away 3x. That's negative 2x minus 4 is less than or equal to negative 8. Now we're going to do the opposite of minus 4, so plus 4, negative 2x is less than or equal to negative 4. Then we have to divide both sides by negative 2. Again, when you divide by a negative number on both sides, you're going to have to flip the inequality. So x is greater than or equal to 2. Problem 3. An inequality is shown below. Which inequality represents the solution set? So for this one, we have a negative 6, and we need to distribute that into the parentheses. So 47 minus 12x is less than or equal to negative 48 minus 12x. Next, we have to put the x's together. So add 12x, that goes away. Add 12x here, this also goes away. Notice my x's are now gone. When the x's disappear, you're trying to figure out, well, did you end up with a true statement or a false statement? So here it says 47 is less than or equal to negative 48. This is a false statement. 47 is not less than or smaller than negative 48. So when it's a false statement, that means no solution. And another way to write no solution is a 0 with a line through it. So here the answer is C. Now let's talk about what is D. That little symbol right there means all real numbers. When is your answer going to be all real numbers? That is only if you have a true statement. So if something was true, like 0 is greater than negative 1, if something is true, then that means it would be all real numbers. Only if your variables disappeared. My variables, the letter disappeared on both sides, so I had to figure out, was it a true or a false statement? Problem 4. We have 5x minus 12 is greater than or equal to 2x plus 6. So we're going to take away 2x, that's 3x minus 12 is greater than or equal to 6. Next, we're going to add 12 to both sides. So 3x is greater than or equal to 18. And then lastly, divide by 3. So x is greater than or equal to 6. Remember, when you have an inequality that is greater than or equal to, less than or equal to, it's a completely closed circle. When it's greater than or less than, it's going to be an open circle. So make sure you know the difference between when should you use an open circle or a closed circle. So here it's greater than or equal to 6, which means it can be equal to 6. So it needs to be a closed circle on 6. So H and J are good. I'm going to cross out F and G. So X has to be greater than or equal to 6. Remember that symbol right there, greater than or equal to. So where are all the numbers bigger than 6? So the answer is H. It's pointing to the right where all the numbers greater than 6 are facing. Problem number 5. Here we're going to draw our line down the inequality. The opposite of positive 2x is take away 2x. So that is 30 plus 3x is less than or equal to 48. Now we take away 30 from both sides. 3x is less than or equal to 18. And lastly, we divide by 3. So x is less than or equal to 6. So here's our answer for number 5. Number 6. Rectangle ABCD has a length represented by the expression 2x minus 3 and a width represented by the expression 4x plus 5. So I'm going to stop right there and I'm going to draw a rectangle ABCD. So this is what it would look like. It says that the length is the width is 2x minus 3, and then the length is 2x minus 3, and the width is 4x plus 5. So here I'm just labeling my sides. Okay, then we have another rectangle, which is PQRS. It has a length, so I'm going to draw another rectangle for PQRS. This one has a length represented by x minus 1, so x minus 1 for the length, and a width of 3x plus 2. 3x plus 2, 3x plus 2. Okay, so now it says, which of the following expressions can be used to represent the difference of the perimeters of ABCD and PQRS? So what they're asking you to do is figure out if all of this had a perimeter, which we can find, subtract it. Difference means subtract from the perimeter of this one. So difference means subtract. So I need to subtract the perimeter of ABCD minus PQRS. So let's start with ABCD. To find the perimeter, I need to put all of my x's together. So 4 plus 4 plus 2 plus 2 makes 12 x's. Then we want to put all of our numbers together. So all of that gives you plus 4. So this whole expression minus the expression over here, I need to figure out 3x plus x plus x. So 8x. And then we combine our numbers. So combining all of that together, 2 plus 2 minus 1, so plus 2. And next we combine them. We have 12x plus 4. Remember, this minus changes the signs of everything in here, so minus 8x minus 2. And then we combine our x's. Now, 4x plus 2. So the answer has to be G. Problem 7. Landscaping by the Lake Incorporated is designing 3 cactus gardens to incorporate into the landscaping plans for a new residence. One cactus garden will be in the shape of a pentagon with all sides equal in length represented by 6x plus 1 feet. So let's go ahead and draw, because right here it says draw a diagram. I'm going to start with the pentagon. A pentagon has 5 sides and they're all equal. So something like this, all 5 sides, these sides are all the same. And it says that this pentagon has a side length of 6x plus 1. So this is 6x plus 1, this is 6x plus 1, and so on. Each side is 6x plus 1. Then it goes on to say another cactus garden will be represented by a hexagon with the sides 5x minus 2. So a hexagon has 6 sides, and again, they're all equal. Okay, mine's not the best, but pretend they're all equal. So all those 6 sides are equal, and they're all 5x minus 2. So 5x minus 2 for each side, all 6 sides. Okay, next we have the last and final cactus is represented by a triangle. This triangle has 7x minus 5. So triangle has 3 sides. All 3 sides are the same, and the sides are 7x minus 5. Okay, so next, the edges will be lined with landscaping timbers. So part A was just draw pictures. I did all that. Part B, what expression can be used to represent the perimeter of each cactus? So we'll start with the pentagon. What expression would I use? Well, because there's 5 sides, I would have to do 5 times 6x plus 1. Okay. For the hexagon, I would have to do 6 times 5x minus 2. For the triangle, I would have to do 3 times 7x minus 5. Okay, those are the expressions that I would have to use for each one of those. Part C, it says, what expression can be used to represent the number of feet needed to outline all 3? So what they're asking you to do here is they want you to find the perimeter of all 3 added together. So we're going to have to figure out, well, how much is needed for the pentagon? Well, that's 30x plus 5. Distribute the 5. The next one would be 30x minus 12. And the last one would be 21x minus 15. So the total would be adding them all together. So I need to add up all of the x's together and then combine all of my numbers together. So the total would be 81x minus 22. Okay. Number 8. Number 8. Which expression is equivalent to 2/3 x plus 1/5 y minus all of this plus all of that? I'm going to get rid of the parentheses. So the 2/3 x plus 1/5 y, there's imaginary 1, so it does nothing to the signs. But looking right here, that minus changes the signs for the inside. So it's a negative 1/6 x plus a 3/4 y. And then lastly, that doesn't change anything because it's a positive sign right here in the middle. So those 5/12 and the 2 stay the same. Okay, next, we are going to combine all of our x's together. So I'm going to combine all of these. I could either 1, find common denominators, or 2, use my calculator to combine them. I'm going to show you how to use the calculator in case you forgot. So last year, you should have learned that on the calculator, all you have to do is click Control Divide, and when you click Control Divide, it'll pop up a fraction. So in there, we can go ahead and type 2/3, and then we're going to move over, minus, we want to put 1/6, so Control Divide again to get another fraction, and then plus 5/12. So plus Control Divide one last time, 5/12. So that's 11/12 x's. So I'm going to go back over here, and I just figured out that it's 11/12x. Next, we have to figure out, well, how many y's do I have? So we're going to type those in as well. So 1/5, so Control Divide, 1/5, and then we have plus 3/4, Control Divide again, and then minus, plus 2. Plus 2. So 59/20. That is how many y's we have. So 59/20. Come back over here. Sorry about that. Plus 59/20 y. Okay, so looking over here, my answer has to be G. 11/12x plus 59/20 y. Next, problem number 9. Which expression is equivalent to all of this? So again, you need to get rid of your parentheses. So 3.7x has no parentheses, so I just write that down. Okay, I have a plus all of this, so all of that stays the same because it's a positive. Then I have a plus 0.8, that stays the same as well. And lastly, this minus changes the signs of everything inside. So that becomes a minus 1.7x, a minus 1, and a plus 2.3y. Okay, we need to combine like terms. Looking at my answer choices, I have all my x's first. So I'm going to start with those. I have x's here, and I go find all of the other x's. So 3.7x minus 1.7x, that's 2 x's. So cross out B. So far, A, C, and D all have 2 x's. Moving on. If you look at the next term they put was y. So I want to put my y and the y together. So negative 6 plus 2.3y. That's negative 3.7y. So here, that has to be the answer, but let's go ahead and work out the last part. So positive 0.5 plus 0.8, take away 1. You end up with plus 0.3. So our answer does have to be C. Number 10. Sue Lynn has 2 gardens in her backyard, one for flowers and one for vegetables. The flower garden has an area represented by this expression. So I'm going to write down what the flower garden is. So flower garden is 9x squared minus 12x minus 5. Then we have a vegetable garden. So the vegetable garden is 20x squared minus 7x minus 30. The question says, which expression can represent how much larger the area of the vegetable garden is compared to the flower garden? So that means that this one is bigger, but how much bigger? Well, to figure that out, we have to do the vegetable garden minus the flower garden. So the vegetable garden is 20x squared minus 7x minus 3, all of that minus the flower garden, and then that'll tell me the difference. How much larger is it? Well, I need to subtract them. So again, we have parentheses. We need to get rid of the parentheses. So the first part stays the same. The second part, that negative, changes all of my signs. So that becomes a minus 9x squared plus 12x and a plus 5. So looking at my answer choices, they put all of the x squared in the front. So I'm going to put x squared here and x squared here together. So 20x squared minus 9x squared, that's 11x squared. So cross out G and J. Next, we have a negative 7x plus 12x. Well, that's plus 5x. And lastly, a negative 3 plus 5, that's a positive 2. So the answer has to be H. Problem 11. Which expression is equivalent to all of this? Again, parentheses, we need to get rid of the parentheses. So half x is in the front, that stays the same. This minus changes all of our signs for everything inside this parenthesis. So that becomes a minus 3x squared plus half x minus 8. And then the plus 11 stays the same, and the plus 5x squared minus 22 stays the same. Next, looking at my answer choices, I see that it has x squared first. So I'm going to go look for all the x squared in the problem. So x squared. Negative 3x squared plus 5x squared, that's 2x squares. So going back, it cannot be C. Okay. Then we're going to finish off by looking at the x's. So here's x. These ones are saying there's no x's. So if we add half x and half x, that's one whole. So plus half and half makes one whole x. So just plus x. And then lastly, our numbers. If we put negative 8 plus 11 minus 22 together, we get minus 19. So the answer has to be D. It can't be A or B. Problem 12. Team A and B are planning fundraisers. Team A will receive 1/3 of the total sales after paying a $200 one-time fee. Team B will receive 2/5 of the total sales over $1,000. The inequality compares the amount of money raised by Team A and B. So for what total sales amount S will Team B earn more than Team A? So remember, this part right here, this is Team B. When will it earn more than this part right here, which is Team A? So we just have to solve our inequality. When will Team B be more than Team A? Well, let's work out the inequality over here off to the side. So looking at the inequality, I have parentheses. Remember, your first step is to get rid of those parentheses. So 2/5 times S, that's 2/5 S. And what's 2/5 times 1,000? You can work that out. We can go back to our calculator. If we put 2/5 times 1,000, we can also get our answer, which is 400. So minus 400 is greater than 1/3 S minus 200. Next, we have to put the S's together. So I'm going to take away 1/3 S, take away 1/3 S. So I have to figure out what's 2/5 minus 1/3. So control divide. What is 2/5 minus 1/3? Again, you could find common denominators. I'm not going over how to find common denominators, but it is 1/15 S. So I'm going to put here 1/15 S minus 400 is greater than negative 200. Next, we add 400 to both sides. So that's 1/15 S is greater than 200. Lastly, we have to multiply. Since it's multiplied by 1/15, we can multiply by what we call the reciprocal. So the opposite of 1/15 is 15/1. That'll cancel out the 15s and the 1s. So I have to multiply this side by 15/1. Okay, so 200 times 15 will tell me what 200 times 15, 3,000. So the S, your sales for S, I'm going to write it over here, has to be greater than 3,000. So going back and reading what the answer says. The amount of sales for each team is less than 12,000. The amount of sales for each team is greater than 3,000. The amount of sales for each team is greater than 5,000, or the sales for each team has to be less than 3,000. When we worked it out, we said it has to be greater than 3,000. So my answer has to be B, where it says greater than $3,000. It wasn't 12,000 or 5,000, and D said less than, so it can't be D. Okay, number 13. Which expression is equivalent to all of this? Again, parentheses. I have parentheses. I need to get rid of them. So the first part would be 2.2m squared. There's no parentheses. This minus 3.5 changes your signs. So when I multiply 3.5 times 4, I have to figure out what does that give me. So 3.5, sorry about that. Here we go. 3.5 times 4 gives you 14. So minus 14. So minus 14m. And then we have a negative 3.5 times negative 1.4, which is positive 4.9. And then over here, we have 3.6 that needs to be multiplied by both of those. So 3.6 times 8, that's 28.8m squared. And then next we have 3.6 times 4.5, which is negative 16.2m. Okay, now we are going to combine. If you look at your answer choices, m squared came first. So I have to go figure out how many m squared are in the problem. So if I combine 2.2 plus 28.8 m squared, that gives me 31m squared. Well, if you look at your answer choices, the only one I can cross out is J because it had an m to the fourth. Okay, next, we have to combine our m. So m with m. So together, that's going to give you negative 30.2m. And so far that marks off F, so it's either G or H. And lastly, you're trying to figure out what number did you have. We were adding 4.9. So here, adding 4.9, it's G, not J, not H, G. Okay, problem 14. Here it says, which expression is equivalent to all of this? Okay, first one, 2.5. 2.5 times 4.2. That's going to give you 10.5x. 2.5 times 7.4. That's 18.5y. Next, we have a negative 3.6. So negative times a positive. Negative 3.6 times positive 8. That's a negative 28.8x. Negative 3.6 times a negative 4.5 gives you a positive 16.2y. And then next, that negative changes the signs right here, so it becomes a negative 2.4x and then a negative 6y. Okay, we are going to look at our answer choices. It has x first. So we're going to put x with my x right here, and here's the x's, and here are the x's. So putting all those x's together. So you end up with negative 20.7 x's. Well, that doesn't help because they all have negative 20.7 x's except D. And lastly, we have to combine our y's together. So 18.5y, 18.5 plus 16.2 minus 6 gives you 28.7y. So the answer here has to be B. Okay, this is the last problem that you had on your test to review. I am going to say a few things. If you want to get 5 bonus points added to test 2, you can go ahead and submit to me your work. Now, I don't just want the answers for test 2 review. What that means is every single problem that I worked out needs to be worked out on your paper 2. So all of this work that I have needs to be on your paper that you turn in to me for extra credit. If I gave you +5 on test 1, that's because you correctly submitted to me your review with all of your work. You showed all of your steps, whether you took a picture of your paper or you did it on Cami, you submitted it to me, and I was able to tell that you worked out the problems and you worked through them. If you just put the answers, I will not give you bonus points because I can't tell if you just went through the video and copied all the problems or if you actually stayed, watched the video, and showed all of your work for the problems, okay? So it's really important, if you want those bonus points, show all your work, submit it to me either via email or on Google Classroom. If you don't know how to do it, you can email me, jpettis@calallen.org, and I'll send you an email to show you how to do it. But if you have any questions, guys, make sure that you're emailing me to ask me those questions, okay?